Okay, rear axle. Talk about it for just a second, go right to it. I'm going to have to prove to you that the rear end is actually shot. Let me make sure the camera's picking it up. So I'm in a bad spot. Real quick, what I do, I get myself a tie-down strap. I hook the tie-down strap someplace. No matter where you put it. Makes no never mind. Alright. I'm going to do this so the drive shaft, oh, you can't see that. I just hooked it up and do this here so the drive shaft don't go flopping in the floor. I am going to have to unbuckle that first. Doesn't matter, I don't guess. I'm going to have to unbuckle that first because I want to show you that in fact, I'm not lying to you, the rear end is shot. So here we go. Move that camera out of the way, pause it up. It's 11 mil, pull the 4 bolts out. Now we can, since the vehicle is in park, now I can actually show to you what is actually messed up on here. Let me grab a light. We want to move forward with the repair just directly. I don't have a lot of time. It's Christmas Eve. I want to get done with this, and making these videos just takes a long time, so, or longer anyway, than me just doing it. So, let me snatch up my light here. Make sure that isn't in the way. Can you see what I see? So we got damage over here, ring gear, pinion, I can't see. Got all kinds of damage on the teeth here. I mean, broken up, loose. Pin is wore out, obviously, by the way by the play and the wiggle in it. Gears are busted, broken. There's a whole half a tooth missing in the back. Here we go, hanging up on the gear. This is precisely what the customer complained about it doing. See, that's right there, it's hanging up on the gear. I'm done. Sorry, I'm done. That right there is the proof. Let's talk about something different. Keep rambling on, same thing. Okay, what we got to do to change the rear end, what I do is simply this. Let me zoom you back out. So it's simply this. Loosen the shock on the other side. Get the bracket here, get that off, 13 mil. Then we need to disconnect. In this case here, I'm disconnecting the hose from the brake caliper. Do the same thing on the other side. We have to undo, let me flip screen. We have to undo the e-brake, which is non-functioning on this truck anyway, but that doesn't matter. We're going to put that back. So I'll give you the lowdown. Up top, we're already loose. Everything is loose here. We need to undo our block for our brake, and that'll be the extent of it. After that, we'll talk about this some more. I'll give you my thoughts. You can give me yours. This is the other new tool. This is yet another 1/4 inch drive. Y'all know that I've already got the long one. This is the short version of it. Love it. So there you have it. Milwaukee Ratchet, love it. Not a sponsor. Don't really know why this one here actually seems a little bit more powerful than the other one. Like I said, I don't know why that would be, but it seems to be. So anyway, moving on. That little clip. I'll keep this here. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this bolt on top of here since we've got another one anyway on the other rear end. 21 mil shock. Thank you, GM, for putting these hangers to where we can use the impact on both sides. Very easily accessible. Absolutely lovely. And don't get scared. It's only going to drop a little. Remember, our spring pack. Pull the clips out of these brakes. Well, at least I hope we can pull the clips out of the brakes. Pretty crusty. Oh, you dumb. Oh, big dummy. I forgot that had a bracket on it. Dang it. Whoopsie. I forgot that had the hanger on it, guys, so silly me. That's got a bracket in the back. And all y'all got to do is unbolt the bracket. Whoops. We have to, of course, it goes without saying, we're going to have to bleed the brakes. We'll have to do that. I can't get around that. Keep your 11mm wrench handy. You're going to need it on these calipers as well, the hoses. Don't lose the copper washers that go with it. I don't care. I keep those in stock, but I'm sure you guys don't keep them in stock, so got a little wind noise today because the heater is running. Been running pretty good. 56, 57 degrees yesterday, or yesterday, not yesterday, last night when I went inside. Like I said, 56 degrees. It's 18 or 20 degrees right now. It's supposed to get even colder. So we got the heat running. Can't help it. So the brakes, I'm just going to leave them laying up here. I'm going to come around with it. I'm sure you can see me do that. And just carefully fold them over here. We can fold them back later on. So there you go. Down to the emergency brake. So we'll have to get the spring undone. Okay, this side is still dripping pretty good. Hopefully that'll quit here directly. I'm going to get on this side here. To the best of my recollection, we don't have to do nothing but lift that out of there. I could be wrong. This is where I'm at. There's a little tang over here. I think I have to depress that in order to pull it out. What I'm doing, I'm just going to get these vice grips around here so I can see that a little bit better. I should have paid attention. I did not. Come on. So this one is apart, by the way. I'm sure you've seen that. Have you get the noggin out of the way? There's little tangs on here. They'll have to be, you can bow them in. When we stick it back, we'll bow them out, and then it'll lock back into place. Or at least that's what I'm telling you. So on the other one, pay a little bit. I'm going to pay a little bit better attention. Make sure that don't happen again. Don't have enough power for that. This is pretty crusty. Oh yeah. That ratchet definitely ain't gonna have enough power for that. This is crusty. So this with the bracket off. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to not share the light. I'm going to need the light more than you guys do, so you'll have to bear with me. There's number 2. Number 3. I don't think so. I didn't think so. Straight up. So I've undone all the shackle bolts. Oh, just a second, por favor. I'm going to have to get some of the sawdust over here on the brake fluid. You little sucker. I think should be okay. So, yeah, I know I only got one of the nuts over here, which is fine. We're not hurting anything. Done it many times. I think you've seen what I did anyway. I loosened everything up basically, undone everything. I even loosened the shackle bolts to where they're barely holding on. What comes next is kind of obvious. I'm sure y'all caught up with me on that one. I'm going to barely let it touch. Of course, goes without saying, there's no need in setting it all the way. Well, you can't set it all the way down. For one, that'd be a rather big mistake. Okay, so caution. What you have to do when you're doing it without lifting all that good stuff, what you end up having to do is you're ultimately going to have a buddy help you. This is how you get the rear end out of it. And now part 2 is going to be putting the new one back in. I think I'm going to knock off for the day regardless. I'm not even going to prep the rear end. I'm just going to leave it laying as is. And there is your Milwaukee tool. Got a buffing pad on there. I figured I'd go ahead and throw that in there since I can hear my ears burning already on the tool because I said what I said. But anyway, of course, you got a Scotch-Brite on there. That works great. That's what it's really made for, so works great for that. I just wanted to get that on there. I'm not against the Milwaukee at all. You know, regardless of what people think, that was not about, my comment was not about being against the Milwaukee tools at all. So, anyway, you change your fluid, clean up your cover, goes without saying. Get her good and clean. Make sure you don't run into problems there later on. I'm fixing to pop the cover back on. I happen to have it. Whew, sunlight. Shoot, I don't know if you can see it. But anyway, it is sitting out there on my tractor. I got it, of course I took the rear end cover off of it and drained the oil. Clean it out with some cleaner. I'm about to dump that as well. I've got the cleaner still sitting in there. I've been sloshing it around. So we'll get that all cleaned out and I'll fill her up with oil as soon as we get her in. And I'll turn the camera back on here in just a minute when I'm getting ready to put her in. So I got the rear end all drained out. By the way, rear seal. Not going to be done on the truck. I thought I was going to do it, but I'm not going to. Anyway, what I'm going to do is, since it's still sitting on the tractor outside, and I'm going to put the lid back on. Of course, you can get all the bolts back on it other than the one that's on the very top that has your bracket. As you've seen on the previous video, 2.1 quarts of gear oil. That's a 75/90 in this particular one. This is full synthetic gear oil. I will recommend to the customer to at least change it again in a couple of hundred or 1,000 miles or whatever. I'm going to recommend to him to change that again because it did have a little bit of metal in it. The planetaries look good. The backlash ain't too bad. I can show you that if it's buckled up, or I could show you that if it is buckled up, but I'm a little bit running out of my time, my quoted time, and I hate to, I don't like to go over on my quoted time, so as far as me having to charge the customer, I don't like to do that, so I'm not going to show you the backlash part of it. It is 10, it is a little too much, or no, it's not 10, it's 11. It's 11, it is a little bit too much for me, but it is the old junkyard rear end, and that's part of it. I'm not going to do no adjusting on it. The truck here, you know, like I said, we don't spend a lot of money doing this. This truck here is old. It's a work truck. And anyway, 2.1 quarts, what the book calls for. I'm going to throw that in right now, and we'll go from there. You know, I'm going to buckle this thing back up, and we're going to throw it back up here. I'll turn the camera back on when I do it. All right, I'm back. if you're doing it at home, one thing I want to caution everybody about is to be careful. You know, you're gonna have to have a buddy, odds are. I didn't film all that part to get the other axle back in here, just because I've got a transmission jack and a tractor, so that doesn't apply to most people, I would assume. That's me assuming. I don't see everybody having that laying around at the house. So anyway, moving forward, basically all I'm going to do now is reverse everything that we've done in the removal. We'll go ahead and get our lines all laid out, and one more thing, try to get these cups about even. It doesn't matter if they're little off, you know, if they're rolled a little bit, it doesn't really matter. Try to keep them even. You may have to pull the spring just a little bit to get them lined back up to the pegs, because they do set inside pegs, and don't think for a second you need to do anything to that to remove that. Don't. This is what aligns the whole thing. So that being said, I think that I'm going to go head to the back right now and go ahead and hook the drive shaft back up. The brakes are still rusted, of course, a little bit crummy. We're hearing a lot of metal, but inside is actually fine, and we're not locking up. Like I said, I did go ahead, because when I had on the tractor, it was kind of hanging down, you know, the yoke was hanging down, and of course that was the perfect time for me to just go ahead and pour in the rear end fluid. And like I said, I will recommend to the customer that it be changed sooner rather than later. I'm talking like personally, I would put a couple of 100 miles on it. If I had a unit like this here out of a scrapyard, and I would go ahead and change the fluid again. A little bit over 2 quarts. It's not going to kill anybody as far as cost is concerned. So enough of the talk. I'm going to go ahead and buckle some of the stuff up. Again, drive shaft, I'm going to do that. I'm going to get underneath. No need in filming all that. I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, got a drive shaft buckled back up. Okay, moving on to the hoses. I don't know that I said it. I'm going to go ahead and say it now. The way you, when you go into sourcing a rear end on in a salvage yard, use your RPO codes. They normally located in the glove compartment, and this one here happens to be a YA5, YA or YZ5, whatever it is. Anyway, the listings in the junkyard, they'll have that part of it listed. You go by that. That makes a difference in what gearing you got and all that good stuff. So this one here was listed as such, so and therefore it is going to be the right gear set inside of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and route the hoses. Yeah, I'll leave the camera on for just a little bit, I guess, I suppose. So this is lined back up. I'm going to start buckling some of it up. I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off, guys. It's redundant at this point in time. It's very easy. The bolts that we took off top of the distribution block for the brakes, the cable needs to be bolted in the same place. The bracket over there on the other side for the brake line, same thing with the hangers over here, the ones that I took the clips out of for no reason. Those need to be bolted back on, so I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off of that. I don't think there's any need, the camera rolling. Okay, so quick recap on what we did. We got our e-brake cable hooked up. We got our brake line hooked up. We got our shocks hooked up. We put the distribution block back up on the rear end. Put this bracket on. Took this bolt here out, put the e-brake bracket on it, hooked everything back up over here. That needs to go on it. We clipped our differential vent tube. We put it back on, clipped it back into its plastic clip. If you have it, everything is done. I put some new copper washer in those brake hoses, so that should be good and sealed. I'm at this point, I'm ready to just go ahead and get a bowl and start bleeding the brakes out a little bit. Of course, wouldn't be a good video without the air compressor kicking on. Actually, the far side came out fairly easily. Cleaned it up a little bit, took the whole thing out. Take a minute or two to get back over there. This is also the longest distance, so it'll take a little while before it starts coming out. Hard coming out, of course. Clean the threads up, and that generally makes it fairly easy for it to come out. This side over here, not so much luck with it. This one is pretty hung. I need to switch to a 6-point something. This is your regular wrench, obviously 12-point. We don't want that. I want a 6-point on that. Line wrench, that'll work. Like I said, that's a 10 mil, so I do not know why, but my 10 millimeter line wrench is gone. Of course, that's the other thing. Wouldn't be a good video without stuff missing. Actually, what I ended up using the Tecton ratcheting wrenches that I bought. On one hand, I was complaining about them having a 6-point, and I'm honestly kind of glad I got them, because a 12-point would have sure enough rounded this off. This was pretty tight. So there you go. So yeah, for the most part, I don't like the 6-point ratcheting wrenches, but this one here saved my bacon. Clean the threads and everything on that bleeder, clean it up. Make sure you can flow. I would say 7 times out of 10 you clean them bleeders up. They go in very easily after that. Go ahead, get some vacuum assistance. I'm just going to use a hand pump here. Okay, quickly change my mind on that. I got the power tools, no need to doing all that, so we'll go ahead and use power tool. Got to love it, got my pressurized brake bleeder out. It's the Mighty Vac that I haven't used all that much, and guess what? Would you know it, it's already somehow broke. I ain't exactly figured out what's wrong with it, but in any event, it's broke. It's makes me a little bit mad, all that junk that we get. You know, it's like everything you buy anymore, all that crap is plastic, and when you try to use it, it's broken. This is the MV6400. It's a pressurized pump. Now, considering that I only use it like maybe a handful of times, no, I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. Stay away from that crap. I don't know, you know, maybe I just got a bad one. In any event, it's leaking up top. A little bit aggravating, but that's life, that's what happens. I got a good drip going on here in the pan now. As far as everything else that I know of, I think there isn't really anything else to say. I told you what the fluid was. We done cleaned up the hubs over here. We're not doing anything to the brakes. We're not hired to do anything to that. Like I said, this is a work truck. As long as these rear brakes are working, he's good with it. E-brake does not get used. Most of the time in these GMs, they're going anyway, so nobody fixes them. So anyway, I'm going to shut the video off right here. I think that's going to be good enough for everybody. I hope I covered everything. I can't think of anything else that I left out. So I cut a little bit more at the end of the video because I was repeating myself. So anyway, it's all buckled up. All we've got left is to put the wheels back on and ship it. At this point in time, I thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe, leave some comments. We'll see you in the next video.